NEWS.MC on Monaco Info is brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties. Our exclusive interview with the personalities making the Principality.
I like to introduce myself because when you get to a certain point of fame and people know you, you don't get to introduce yourself. That's the reason why I love when I go to the States or anywhere in the world where they don't know me, a lot of places, and they're like, oh, what do you do for a living? What's your name? My ego is okay, I have no problem. I find it sweet because I have to define again my name and realize who I am. So that's what I'm doing today. My name is Gad Elmaleh. I'm a stand-up comedian, actor. I was born in Morocco a long time ago, in the 70s. I've been doing stand-up comedy now for 30 years. Stand-up is not a job, it's just a way of living, it's a way of looking at the world and observing everything that is really human. I've been doing this for my entire life, and movies also. Directed movies, acted in movies, and I'm here in Monaco with you speaking in English, which is a great pleasure. I had this, I always call it a flame, I always call it a light, burning all the time, the dream of becoming an artist, a performer. I was obsessed with, shows they do at school. I was only focused on this. I didn't care about school. That's why sometimes it's hard for me when my son is like not doing well or having a problem, a bad mark, whatever. I'm like, yeah, you have to. I'm like, God, remember, I was dreaming of becoming a performer and I was waiting for the show at the end of the year. That was the only main activity that I loved. Jerry Seinfeld has been a mentor, then he became a friend, then I would not say a colleague, but I worked with him and I've learned so much. He gave me the opportunity to open for his show in cities on tour. So I went with him on tour. He's the biggest comic on the planet. He's the most intelligent person I know, really. I love his family, we're very close. And I don't know, he's been an inspiration. Every time I do something, I write a joke, I think about Jerry, I'm like, what would he think? What would he say about this joke? And then it's a good mark for me because he likes to work so much, exigeant, precise and hard worker, that sometimes I write a joke, I'm like, Jerry would say that's an easy joke, don't make that joke. So yeah, it's a reference for me and he's the biggest. The show is called Lui-même, himself, because I think that's the ultimate project that a human being is kind of pursuing to become yourself. I would love to say in a few years, the later possible, have I succeeded in being, the man I wanted to be? Have I done the job and the work on myself to be a better person? Recently, someone asked me if I believed in God. If believing in God is hoping that God exists, I believe in God. Otherwise, I have no proof. But does it make me happy to think that He's somewhere? Yes. I want to be a better man. I just want to be a better person, So that's what the new show is about. I make fun of all what we try to do to get and be better, all the therapy, all the coaching and the life coaching and the new things and the new therapy and the fasting and the walking and the whatever. So I make fun of this, but in the same time, it's a reflection of we want to be in good health. I read something in a book who said about a man who was so rich that he was only rich by his money. And when you're rich only from your money, that's a problem. You have to be rich from your heart, your humanity, maybe what you've learned. This is what's really interesting. I'm not judging the success, and I'm a big fan of it. And honestly, sometimes French mentality is very difficult with that. Even though I respect what happened for me in France, it's not always encouraging the success, and money is a taboo. And I admire success, I encourage success, but success is also being a good person. Sometimes I have the opportunity to meet with big celebrities in Hollywood. What I remember is not how big they were, is how human, how touching, how funny, how lovable, how connected they were. Even big star. I did a small role in a movie with Al Pacino, and one day we were stuck in a fake helicopter during the shooting, and we had to wait because movies you wait for hours. And then we were sitting here in this helicopter, hanged in the ceilings 10 meters in a studio, he had to talk to me. He had no choice. Al Pacino and myself in a helicopter doing a studio scene, so he had to talk to me. First 30 minutes, he was like this, and then 45 minutes, hey, do you have kids? And then, yeah, I have kids. And then we spoke, and he talked about his kids and the education, how he wants to raise his kids. And we spent like 3 or 4 hours talking about life, religion, God, performing, Robert De Niro, New York, Morocco. I will remember this forever because he's a monster star. But what I keep in my heart from Al Pacino is the father he is and the Hanin, as we say in Morocco. I'm going to be doing shows in Miami, New York, and for the first time in a few days, Abu Dhabi. And the big arena in Abu Dhabi, 4,000 people. That's very interesting to be able to go to those territories. And what's funny is that my shows are going to be in French, in those English territories for expats from all the countries, not only French people. Because when I do New York City, I've done it so many times. You have Lebanese people, Moroccans, Africans, of course, people from Switzerland, Belgium, France, obviously. It's really fun because, you know, when we speak French, we have this thing in common, even though you're, I don't know, from Egypt and the other one is from Switzerland and the other one is from Senegal. We have kind of a connection with the French language and we're gonna have fun together. This is what's gonna happen in September in Miami, New York and London, and in a few days in Abu Dhabi. I think it's the biggest challenge I ever took in my life. I had to start over to learn English. I would speak English, but not as I do now, because I would study every morning 3 hours with a coach, and not only an English coach, a dialect coach, so I can pronounce and put the emphasis on the right syllable in the words every morning. So at night in the clubs, I would do jokes and then it hits. Mamma mia, it was so hard. And hey, all my friends, even Americans, they're like, God, we saw you in France, you're a big star, you had a great car, you had friends, you had the things and everything. What are you doing here? But the challenge, what I learned from this challenge is incredible. I learned so many things that I even used when I came back in French. There's a wonderful story with this ping pong big champion in the 70s. He broke his wrist and then he had to learn again how to play with his left hand. So it took him 8 years until he reached a crazy level with his left hand. And then a journalist asked him, what did you learn from this experience? And he said, you know what? Relearn and starting over with my left hand taught me so many things I didn't know about my right hand. And it's so interesting. Trying to find my words on stage in English when I was working so hard. It was difficult. But when I came back, French seemed not only easy, but I learned new things and I was stronger. I was for 3 years there and I went on tour in small cities. I would go to clubs. I did probably 200 shows in 3. It was big. And then going in clubs every night and hanging out with the comedians, learning every day. And also, my dream was to go on those talk shows. When I went for the first time on Jimmy Fallon, and he said, ladies and gentlemen, my next guest is a big star in Europe, he's a comedian, blah, 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 welcome Gad Elmaleh. I was like, what? I can't believe I'm here. It's crazy. And honestly, it's a big challenge, and I wanted to be on this couch. But this dream has been the same, honestly, when French host Michel Drucker said, please welcome Gad Elmaleh, because I came from another country again, from Morocco, and then Canada, and then France, and they say, Gad Elmaleh, and then I go to the US. I'm gonna go to Japan. I always say as a joke, it would be easier in a Jewish family to come up with the coming out, Mom, I'm gay, easier than I'm becoming Christian or Muslim. As a joke, I say that. But what I have to say is that, so I was born and raised in a Jewish family, not super religious, but traditions. Today, even though I'm getting interested in so many things, it comes back. And this, what I've learned is so precious today. So the movie I did, it's called Reste un peu, was a story of a Jewish man who wants to become a Catholic, is a part true, and a whole part that is not true, because you have to do a script and invent a story. So when I was a kid, the real story that happened when I was a kid in Morocco, one day my dad pointed to a building and say, "You will never enter this building." And I didn't know what it was. And when you're 5 or 6 years old and we tell you don't go there, the only thing you want to do is to go there. So one day after school, I go with my sister. I push the door. It's a church. And then I'm right in front of a statue of the Virgin Mary with my sister. And then I'm like, wow, she's so beautiful. It's great. The smell is amazing. People are nice. It's quiet. And then I came back home and I said, wow, and I've always been intrigued by this figure of the Virgin Mary. So that's what the movie is about. I'm still very intrigued. I learned, I read, I'm into like deeply the fraternity between the three monotheist religion, which is hard for some people. Sometimes they don't understand why I'm interested in and why the Virgin Mary, especially Jewish people. Why would you say that and why would you do that? You don't change your eyes. You can convert to Buddhism, you can become a monk and go in the mountain for, you are what you are and you're gonna die what you are. But sometimes you have sideways, like kids. And I love those, sideways to get interested in that and learn and read. And I had amazing experiences. I met with the Pope Francis, rest in peace, because of this movie. I went to the Vatican and he was such a humble and amazing man and human being. So yeah, I had really great experiences with this little trip. My son, when he goes for Shabbat to my mom, he's just the happiest kid in the world. And it's not only the food, but it's the spirit and the joy and the simcha and all that. And when he goes to the church with his mom and with his uncle, and he's so deeply interested in this story. And then if he has both today, later we'll see. But I think it's important to give him the bagage, the first, the kit, the starter pack, so he can learn. But the thing I want to teach him is to have a good heart. It's not about what religion, what team are we? It's not about what team are we. Do you have a good heart? There's a little confusion between the value and the price and the value. We should always remind them what costs a lot of money is not always big value. What costs zero is not always zero value. If you come with me and we help your grandfather with moving things in his apartment, it costs zero, but it's such a great value. It's amazing. If you go to this whatever brand and buy a t-shirt for $300, it's a lot of money. It has a value? No, zero. That's theory. I'm trying to apply this. It's so hard. It's so difficult because they want to look like their friends. They want to come not at school because they have uniform, thank God. But they want to go to those places where they meet with the friends and the brands and the thing. I think when you come from Morocco, my country that I love, you're kind of raised with the respect of the king and the monarchy, and you don't even have to think about it. I mean, my dad never spoke to me about we are a monarchy, this is a kingdom, whatever. You just organically embrace it and live with it, with what is good, not good. You can debate, you can whatever, today Morocco is really open. But it's a good question because when I came to Monaco and my friends from Paris or New York were like, really? That's a palace with the prince? Yeah. First time I went to visit the prince, even if I was intimidated and impressed and all that, obviously, I was like, I met with the king of Morocco. I've been trained. My mom didn't do well in this particular episode because my mom, is a Moroccan mom. The first time she met with the Prince of Monaco, it was a funny scene. The only thing about the Moroccan mom is they want to look like, they pretend they're very comfortable and they know what they're talking about, they know what they're doing. But my mom, she's a Moroccan mom, Jewish Moroccan mom, doesn't know the manners, and she wanted to do the reverence, and she didn't really succeed at this. It was a reverence from Marrakesh. But it's cute and it's sweet. The first thing I saw when I met with the Prince of Monaco that really seduced me is the sense of humor. I think, honestly, to be able to have sense of humor is such a gift and such a light in your life. People with no humor, it's a little bit complicated. To be honest, in my sentimental life, if I go on a date, first thing I want is laugh. First thing I want is quick, witty, as we say, witty, I like this word. The spirit, not the knowledge. Knowledge is okay. Culture, education, you can go to school, you can go on Google, you can learn in books. I'm a fan of people who are witty, you know, spirit, what we call street intelligence, like organic, natural intelligence and sense of humor. I'm trying to educate and learn, teach that to my kids. This is very important. Monaco was kind of something so far away from my education, my background, and I got very close from Monaco with my heart, by the way, first. I remember shooting a movie in Monaco, Priceless, with Audrey Tautou. We did this movie Priceless and we had many scenes shot in Monaco a long time ago and didn't know anything about Monaco. And I came to Monaco and I was like, wow, this is such a great place. I want to be here, I want to know these people. There's a palace up there? Really, a palace with a prince? I want to know this guy. I want to know this family. Who are they? That's kind of, you know, what you think maybe when you're not famous or what, just a regular man, just a normal man, human looking at this. And then a few years later, I became so close, obviously, with my heart, and I have a lot of attach, and my relation to Monaco is every day, obviously, because my son lives here, he goes to school here, his mom lives here. So I have a real connection to Monaco. I love it, I kind of love it, and my son loves it. You don't know Monaco until you spend a little time here. Obviously, we know all the cliches about Monaco that are funny, weird, tacky, stupid, big, dreamy. But honestly, Monaco has, for me, as a comedian, as an actor, has a theater, has venues for shows, for stand-up comedy, for classical music, for lyric. It has a small opera, it has the big room, it has small venues for stand-up. It's so much culturally in such a small territory that I'm so happy to be here and so happy to see all the variety of performers and shows, and the proposition is really big. I don't say that all the cliches are only stupid, because honestly, it's fun. But then the more you know Monaco, the more you get to understand what Monaco is about. Because recently, for example, Charlotte Casiraghi, mother of my son and daughter of Princess Caroline, has created Les Rencontres Philosophiques, the philosophical meetings. And it's such a big event now for intellectuals, for philosophers who come from all around the world. And honestly, you had to be bold to propose something like that in Monaco, because between the Grand Prix and the cars and the sports events and the thing, saying, you know what, we're gonna invent and create something around philosophy. Now it's a huge success. I think it's great. I think we have to look also at this when it comes to Monaco. We have to look also at what Monaco does a lot for the environment. You know, the Prince of Monaco has been really like seriously involved in the environment. So I think there are many things that I'm discovering. But to be honest, like many years ago, I was like people who maybe are watching us now. There's one place with the casino and Ferraris going around like that, and people are doing this all the time. No. There are so many things to discover, and really come check it out. And culturally, as a performer, I would say this is really one of the most intense cultural activity in the world for such a small territory. There is also a funny side of Monaco, because sometimes it's too much. So you want to make fun of this, and it's okay. I became a grandfather, and honestly, in the beginning or right before, I was like, wow, I'm a grandfather, I'm getting super old, what is that? But it's great, it's really great. I get so emotional for now. I have to wait a little bit until it becomes kind of, not normal, but you know, like to sink in with all what I'm going through with this new experience. It's such a strong love. I had the honor and the chance to share a lunch with Jacques Attali, one of our biggest French intellectuals. At the end of the lunch, he said, before you go, can I ask you a question? And Jacques Attali said to me, in 10 years from now, not in 20, not in 5, 10 was precise. Where do you see yourself? I said, why would I see myself in 10 years? I thought about it and I said, I see myself doing stand-up in English and learning English very well to be able to go on stage. So that was a challenge. But to be honest, now my biggest challenge is not to achieve something crazy, is to keep what I have and to keep it with inspiration, to keep the pace more than a sprint, you know? I want to write a new show and to go deeper and deeper. I want to be real. It's okay if some people don't understand always what I do and why it's okay. But I want to be honest with my art, with my craft. I want to go deeper in the subject I am talking about. You know what? I don't think I would be based in one place, but Monaco will always have a connection, the family and mother of my son and my son. So I think I will always be connected to Monaco now and I hope for many years.
That's all for today. Thank you for watching NEWS.MC, your English rendezvous on Monaco Info. Discover more interviews and stories on our websites, NEWS.MC and MonacoInfo.com. This show was brought to you by Monaco Legend Properties.